Corruption doesn't begin with you, and it doesn't end with you. What if I told you that corruption leaves fingerprints, not only on the future, but on the past? This isn't just about governments or systems. This is about ancestors, bloodlines, and justice itself. We often see corruption as a crime of the present moment, something that happens now and affects us now. But what if that's only a tiny piece of the picture? What if the real impact of corruption is so vast that it echoes backward and forward through time, leaving an invisible but heavy burden on our families, our nations, and even our own lives? This is the unseen consequence of systemic injustice, a hidden truth about justice that no one talks about. Today, we're going to expose how corruption impacts our ancestors and why understanding this is the key to our collective awakening. Welcome to Time for Justice. Let's start with a radical idea. Corruption doesn't die. It becomes inherited. What if I told you that corruption never truly disappears, but is passed down through generations, almost like DNA? Think about it. When an act of corruption is committed, enabled, or ignored, it creates a kind of moral debt. This isn't about legal punishment, which is often avoided by the powerful. This is about a deep imbalance created under a universal law of justice. This moral debt doesn't just vanish when the perpetrator is gone. It lingers, affecting families, nations, and entire bloodlines. Our ancestors are not just dusty figures in history books. They are unfinished chapters in our story. When justice was denied in their generation, that unresolved energy, that imbalance, doesn't just go away. It resurfaces, demanding to be seen and resolved in another generation. This is the essence of generational corruption. The injustice they faced becomes an inherited injustice for us. This is why we see the same patterns of power, abuse, and social injustice repeating. Systems inherit corruption, just like families do, carrying forward a legacy of corruption that continues to demand resolution. This isn't just theory, it's a generational force that shapes our world in ways we're only beginning to understand. Now, consider this. Silence is not neutral. It becomes an accomplice. Ancestors carry the weight of what was never exposed. When corruption is hidden, covered up, and buried under layers of institutional denial and rewritten history, our ancestors are left without closure. Their suffering, their fight for truth, is erased. But under universal law, truth unspoken remains unresolved. Justice delayed becomes justice transferred to the next generation. That silence, the collective refusal to speak out, becomes a form of participation in the original crime. It doesn't erase the corruption. It anchors it into the bloodline, creating a heavy, unseen pressure that builds over time. Think about historical injustices, the corruption cover-ups that have been exposed decades or even centuries later. Why does bringing that truth to light feel so powerful? Because exposing the hidden corruption finally restores ancestral dignity. It validates their struggle and acknowledges their pain. The truth doesn't just set the living free. It releases the generational pressure that has been building in the shadows. We have to understand that institutional silence is a form of corruption itself, and breaking that silence is the first step toward true justice and healing. This brings us to a crucial question. Why does corruption keep coming back in every generation? If it feels like we are fighting the same battles over and over again, it's because we are. If corruption keeps returning, it's because the root cause was never truly resolved. Every generation tends to believe that the corruption they face is new, a unique problem of their time, but more often than not, it's the same unresolved patterns, resurfacing in a new form. This cycle of injustice continues when our systems are designed to protect power instead of truth. It repeats when whistleblowers who try to expose the truth are punished, when victims are discredited and shamed, and when accountability is selective, applied only to the powerless. This repetition isn't a coincidence. It's a kind of systemic memory. The system remembers how to protect itself. This is the core of systemic corruption. Revolutions and reforms often fail because they change the faces in power but not the underlying system of injustice. They fail to bring the whole truth to light. This is the fundamental conflict between man-made justice, which is often flawed and biased, and universal law, which demands complete balance and accountability. The cycle of power abuse exposed today is a direct echo of a past injustice that was never fully healed. So, what is the true cost of this generational cycle? Corruption isn't just a crime against people. It's a crime against time itself. It doesn't just steal money or resources. It steals futures. Think about what corruption prevents. It steals opportunities from the unborn generations who will inherit a weaker, more broken society. It erases the sacrifices of ancestors who fought for a better world, only to have their progress undermined. It delays our collective evolution, holding us all back. Under the principles of universal justice, corruption isn't judged only by what it took, but by what it prevented from ever happening. The lost futures, the delayed progress, the potential that was never realized. That is the unseen cost of injustice. This is why corruption feels so spiritually heavy. It's more than just a financial crime. It creates a deep-seated generational trauma that we can feel, even if we can't name it. It's a distortion of our collective destiny. The corruption impact on society is not just economic. It's a spiritual wound that affects our very sense of hope and possibility for the future. We are living with the consequences of futures stolen by corruption long ago. But this isn't a message of despair. It's a call to action, because there is a way to break this cycle. And it starts with understanding that justice is the only way our ancestors are truly released. But we need to redefine what justice means. True justice doesn't just punish, it restores. It's not about revenge. It's about the restoration of balance. When hidden corruption is finally exposed and the truth is brought into the light, something incredible happens. Our ancestors are finally acknowledged. Their truth re-enters the timeline, correcting the historical record. And we, that generations, are released from carrying the unresolved weight of that injustice. Justice isn't just about settling a score from the past. It's about freeing the future from the chains of that past. This is the foundation of our mission here at Time for Justice. It requires a profound awakening to justice, a shift from seeking punishment to seeking restoration. This healing process depends on truth and accountability. It requires each of us to take individual responsibility, to choose the discomfort of truth over the false comfort of silence. We have to be the generation that says, the cycle ends with us. If corruption is allowed to continue, it doesn't just harm society, it imprisons generations. It traps our ancestors in a story of unresolved pain, and it traps our future in a cycle of repeated failure. This is why I created Time for Justice, to expose truth, restore balance, and end this pattern of generational injustice once and for all. This is not just a channel, it's a movement toward a new understanding of justice, one rooted in universal law and accountability. If this message resonates with you, if you feel the weight of these unseen consequences, then you are part of this awakening. Subscribe to our channel for more truth-based content that challenges the old systems of power. And if you know someone who feels this way but doesn't know why, share this video with them. It's time we brought these hidden truths to light. Thank you for watching.